So, what happened to Meat Loaf? Let's start at the beginning. Born in Dallas, Texas in 1947, Meat Loaf came from a turbulent background. His childhood was scarred by poverty, bullying, and an abusive alcoholic father. But it was also marked by moments of bold defiance, like the time he ran away to Los Angeles with just a few bucks in his pocket to pursue his dream of making it big. He had a voice that could shake the walls, and he knew it. In Los Angeles, Meat Loaf formed his first band, Meat Loaf Soul. The band received several recording contracts. Meat Loaf Soul's first gig was in Huntington Beach, California in 1968 at The Cave, opening for Van Morrison's band Them and Question Mark and the Mysterians. The band underwent several changes of lead guitarists, changing the name of the band each time, to names including Popcorn Blizzard and Floating Circus. As Floating Circus, they opened for The Who, The Fugs, The Stooges, MC5, The Grateful Dead, and The Grease Band. Early on, he found success on the stage, most notably in the original production of Hair and later in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where he played the doomed leather-clad biker Eddie. That alone would have made him a cult icon. But Meat Loaf was just getting warmed up. In addition to appearing as Mother and Ulysses S. Grant at Detroit's Vest Pocket Theater, he recorded the vocals with fellow Hair performer Sean Stoney Murphy on an album of songs written and selected by the Motown production team. The album, titled Stoney and Meat Loaf, with Meat Loaf spelled as two words, was released in September 1971 and included the single What You See Is What You Get. It reached number 36 on the best-selling soul singles chart and number 71 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Meat Loaf and Stoney opened for Richie Havens, Bob Seger, and Alice Cooper. In 1976, Meat Loaf recorded vocals for Ted Nugent's album Free for All, when regular Nugent lead vocalist Derek St. Holmes temporarily quit the band. In 1977, he dropped Bat Out of Hell, and rock music was never the same. It was bombastic, operatic, outrageous. Songs like Paradise by the Dashboard Light and 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad weren't just radio hits, they were anthems. The album also contained the notable songs Bat Out of Hell and You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth. Paired with songwriter Jim Steinman's grandiose Wagner meets Springsteen compositions, Meat Loaf's voice became the vessel for teenage lust, desperation, and drama. It was all too much, and people loved it. But here's the twist. Despite Bat Out of Hell eventually selling over 40 million copies worldwide, it was not an instant hit. Meat Loaf and Steinman had to beg record labels to even listen to it. They were laughed out of offices, told it was too long, too weird, too theatrical. Sound familiar? They proved everyone wrong. But fame came with a cost. The pressure for a sequel was enormous, and Meat Loaf cracked under it. He lost his voice, literally. The stress, the touring, and his self-doubt led to complete vocal paralysis. He couldn't sing a note. Meat Loaf played the role of Travis Redfish in the movie Roadie until his singing voice returned. While Jim Steinman went on to release his version of the intended follow-up, Bad for Good, Meat Loaf spiraled. Steinman then wrote a new album for Meat Loaf, Dead Ringer, which was released in September 1981. The song Dead Ringer for Love was the pinnacle of the album, and it was a top 5 hit in the UK. According to Meat Loaf, Steinman had given the songs Total Eclipse of the Heart and Making Love Out of Nothing at All to Meat Loaf for his next album. However, Meat Loaf's record company did not want Meat Loaf to sing Steinman's songs, saying that nobody wanted to hear them. Bonnie Tyler's version of Eclipse and Air Supply's version of Making Love topped the charts together, holding number 1 and number 2 for a period during 1983. In 1984, Meat Loaf went to England, where he felt increasingly at home, to record the album Bad Attitude. It was released that year. It was a minor success with a few commercially successful singles, the most successful being Modern Girl. Meatloaf worked with songwriter John Parr on his next album, Blind Before I Stop, which was released in 1986 by Arista Records. He filed for bankruptcy. He battled depression. His weight fluctuated, the media mocked him, and for a while, it looked like Meatloaf was a one-hit wonder, a footnote in rock history. But if there's one thing you need to know about Meatloaf, it's that he never stayed down for long. By the early 90s, he made the ultimate comeback. Bat Out of Hell. 2, Back into Hell dropped in 1993, and with it came the thunderous single I'd Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. It hit number 1 in 28 countries. A whole new generation discovered the drama, the spectacle, the voice. He had done the impossible. He had a second act, and it was just as loud as the first. But the tension between him and Steinman lingered. Their creative partnership was explosive, brilliant, but volatile. Lawsuits flew back and forth over the years. Who owned the name Bat Out of Hell? Who wrote what? It was messy, but it was also clear. Together, they were magic. In 1995, Meatloaf released his 7th studio album, Welcome to the Neighborhood. It included 3 singles that hit the top 40, including I'd Lie for You and That's the Truth, which reached number 13 in the United States and number 2 in the UK, and Not a Dry Eye in the House, which reached number 7 in the UK chart. In 1998, Meatloaf released The Very Best of Meatloaf. In 2003, Meatloaf released his album Couldn't Have Said It Better. The album Bat Out of Hell, The Monster Is Loose was released on October 31st, 2006, and was produced by Desmond Child. Portions of the tour in February 2007 were featured in the documentary Meatloaf, In Search of Paradise, directed by Bruce David Klein. In May 2009, Meatloaf began work on the album Hang Cool Teddy Bear in the studio with Green Day's American Idiot album producer Rob Cavallo, working with such writers as Justin Hawkins, Rick Brantley, Ollie Ride, Tommy Henriksen, and John Bon Jovi. In September 2016, Braver Than We Are, a 10-track album created with Jim Steinman, was released. In his later years, Meatloaf kept performing, but his health began to fade. He collapsed on stage multiple times. His voice was no longer the instrument it had been, and still, he kept touring because he loved his fans. He didn't need to do it for the money. He did it because he couldn't imagine doing anything else. He acted through every song. He gave you a full performance every night, whether he was singing in front of a sold-out arena or a late-night talk show audience. Meatloaf passed away in January 2022, and when the news broke, the world paused. People who hadn't thought about Bat Out of Hell in decades suddenly remembered every lyric, every over-the-top drum beat. Tributes poured in from fans, musicians, and actors alike. Because Meatloaf wasn't just a singer, he was a force, a contradiction, a legend who defied every category you tried to put him in. So, what happened to Meatloaf? He lived loud. He stumbled. He rose. He battled demons. He defied odds. He made music that was too big for the radio and somehow made it work. He lost his voice and found it again. And in the end, he gave the world a reminder that passion, drama, and heart still have a place in rock and roll. He was messy. He was magnificent. He was Meatloaf. And though he's gone, he left behind a legacy that will keep revving through jukeboxes, playlists, and stadium speakers for decades to come.